Hey guys, welcome to our new moon in Sagittarius coming in today, which is also a solar eclipse in Gemini and Sagittarius. This is our last eclipse in the Gemini and Sagittarius axis for quite a long period of time. For the past year and a half, we have had the nodes of the moon transiting Gemini and Sagittarius. And this whole past year and a half with the eclipses happening in these signs has really been about trying to bring us some type of massive mental shift in terms of new things that we're learning and new ways that we are perceiving reality that assists us in letting go of belief systems and dogmas from the past that are no longer serving us as we enter this new age of Aquarius paradigm. And today we are closing out that cycle with this eclipse going on alongside of our new moon in Sagittarius today. And there are definite themes with this eclipse of shadows being like exposed, seeing into the shadows, shining a light on the truth, and the impact that that has really on our psyches and our ability to heal and regenerate and transform fundamentally going forward at this point in time. Welcome back to my channel, everybody. Today is this is my energetic report for the new moon in Sagittarius that is going to be happening on Saturday, December 4th, 2021. So let's talk all about it. There is a lot going into this new moon eclipse today. There's a lot to talk about. There are some very, very specific and relevant and important themes to discuss. There's just a lot. There's a lot. And I'm really hoping that I can do this quickly enough to get through to the tarot as well, because I had some interesting tarot cards come out as well when I asked for Spirit to clarify the collective on what was the collective energy in terms of what we're looking at going into this cycle. So let's start from the beginning. First of all, let me just give you some basic themes that I am anticipating over the course of this next lunar cycle. Remember, we are at a new moon. This is the seed planting phase. This is the time of the month where we set our intentions and we make our plans and we set our goals for what we want to grow and bloom and blossom over the course of this cycle. And this is a very imprinting phase right now, and energy that is present on the new moon is really the underlying energy that is unfolding all month long. Whatever energy is present on the new moon, we can be sure will be developing and unfolding throughout the course of this cycle. So themes that we can expect all cycle long: exposing secrets that allow us to be released from things that we have been mentally or subconsciously bound or enslaved to. Revelations that change our reality and lead to self-empowerment, and also this ability to begin taking back our power through the realization of what we have feared truly being powerless, and us finding out that it was always an illusion, and gaining this ability to surrender our fears to the divine, surrender our desire to control an outcome to the divine, and through that process really be liberated from the things in the past that have held us back, and especially where we have been controlled through our fears. This is a major theme that is going to be really dissipating throughout the course of this cycle. Also, the truth will set you free. We are in the Sagittarius cycle, guys, ruled by Jupiter, the planet of truth, who is currently in Aquarius, talking about liberation through truth and authenticity. The truth will set you free is going to be a major theme all this cycle, as well as we are really discovering these deep hidden truths and things that have been hidden in the shadows that we are having a light shined on now for a multitude of reasons in a multitude of ways, which I will describe as I go through this report. But definitely the exposure of truth, liberating us from the things of the past that we have been enslaved to, that have been keeping us out of our ability to come into our truth, our authenticity, and develop into our true potential. Another very strong indication of what the energetics might bring us throughout the course of this Sag cycle. And finally, and I really feel strongly about this one, guys, those who have been mishandling power or abusing power will now be exposed and face their own demise. This is the self-destruction of those who have been mishandling their own power. And it's just very evident through the placement of the planets, the degrees of the planets that they're discharging today, and the symbolism associated with that. all about exposing secrets this cycle, bringing genuine truth that really helps to liberate us from the things that we have been bound to. And this has been a theme that has been playing out all year long, ever since our new moon in Aries that began last April. And the Scorpio cycle that we are coming out of right now as we begin our Sagittarius cycle was also really assisting in that, really exposing the root core issues of things. And this cycle is really going to go ahead and show us exactly what has been hiding in the darkness and really help us understand that the things in the darkness and in the shadows that we have been fearing and therefore have been keeping us out of our power are just not what we thought that they were. And that process changing a whole bunch of things for us moving throughout this cycle. So another thing, that I want to mention, eclipses have a tendency to activate energy for about 6 months, for about a 6-month period of time. But the 2 weeks before the solar eclipse and then the 4 weeks after are really the most active periods. So this energy has been building since we had our full moon in Taurus and Scorpio and the lunar eclipse that we had, activating this eclipse now. And then over the next 4 weeks or so, we should really see some type of really big exposures that have this majorly transformative effect on us. So that is really what we're looking at in terms of the themes that are coming through with this specific new moon in Sag and the eclipse today. Now I want to talk about the specific symbolism that is being discharged via the degree placements of the planets. This will give us more context when I start talking about the aspects and the transits that are ongoing today for this new moon. It will just give us more context about what we can expect and what the planets are really driving for at this point in time in the context of this unfolding astrological saga that is perpetually carrying us at this point in time into the age of Aquarius. And for those of you who are new to my channel and unfamiliar, welcome. I'm so glad to have you here. And for those of you who are tuning in yet again, I am so glad to have you here. But the Sabian symbols, what they are is a group of energetics that describe each and every one of the 360 degrees of the zodiac. Whenever we have a planet at a certain point discharging a certain degree, we can look to the Sabian symbol, read the symbol, and it just gives us more information about what is, like I said, that the true underlying context of why this activation is happening in this synchronistic way at this point in time, and what it's really doing to help perpetuate and play a role in this unfolding astrological story, astrological energetic drama that is constantly and perpetually carrying us through time and space. And like I said, right now on a very fast trajectory into the age of Aquarius, the Aquarian frequencies, the Aquarian paradigm. So I want to actually read the Sabian symbols to you for all of the planets today because we are in a new moon in Sagittarius, and there is just, I'm going to be bringing these planets back up as I talk about the aspects that they're making. And so I just want to go ahead and let everybody know up front what the degree placements are so that you understand when I start talking about the aspects and bring up the symbolism as well. So 13 degrees of Sagittarius, where the new moon in Sag and the eclipse is happening today. Actually, before I get into the Sabian symbols, I should have said this in the beginning. The exact moment of this new moon and eclipse is going to be happening at 2:43 a.m. Eastern time on December 4th, and it is happening at 12 degrees and 22 minutes exactly of Sagittarius. Now, when we read the Sabian symbols, as I was just talking, we always round up a degree because energy really moves in waves, and it's like by the time that a planet is discharging a certain degree, it's really already pulling in and picking up on the incoming energetic tones. So when we're reading the degree symbolically, we look at the degree rounded up because that really is the energy that is already being picked up and discharged. But I do find it a bit synchronistic that the exact degree placement is 12 degrees and 22 minutes because there has been this ongoing theme on big energetic days lately where I've been noticing planets being at degrees or just indicating numerology of 222. And we are heading into the year of 2022, which is really going to be a very, very significant, transformative, and fundamental year in our transition into the age of Aquarius and really starting to see the results of this paradigm shift tangibly taking shape in our world. Although, it's going to take a few years for this to really, really become apparent. But 2022 is the year where we are going to be coming back into a much greater sense of internal wholeness, internal self-empowerment, recognizing the truth of the value of the resources and the potential that we hold inside of us, and using that and cultivating that in order to start to produce value and abundance in our external worlds that is in alignment with the authenticity and the creative, authentic potential of what we hold inside of us. So 222, if you're seeing it synchronistically, if you're seeing the angel number, if this number is a significant part of your life at this point in time, it's a significant part of the energy right now also, and this transitional process that we're going in. And 222 also speaks of like divine union and divine balance and ultimate fulfillment in love and partnership and stuff like that. And that really is where we're headed once we go through this process of realigning with the truth of our authenticity and sculpting our external realities in a way that is reflective of that. So very interesting. I just wanted to throw that out there too. If anyone is into numerology, the number 222 is holding a strange significance lately as we go through this process and head into the year 2022. So 12 degrees and 22 minutes. That was the exact new moon degree, and also for the eclipse. But like I said, we round that to 13 degrees. So now let me go back and talk about the Sabian symbols after I did what I should have done in the beginning but didn't do till just now. So anyways, 13 degrees of Sagittarius. Without further ado, the Sabian symbol of this degree is a widow's past is brought to light. Now this is significant, and I will talk more about this when I start talking about the actual aspects going on with the eclipse day. But remember that a widow's past is brought to life. And just as like a brief description, when I see this degree, it is like the karma of past actions as it affects the opportunities presented by a new cycle. So hold that thought, and we will be back to that. Next, we have, so that's the degree of both the sun and the moon today as they conjoin for this new moon that we have going on. Now we have the Earth, which is always in a polar opposition to the Sun at 13 degrees of Gemini, a famous pianist giving a concert performance. To me, this is indicating a divine symphony that is playing out on Earth, and we'll talk more about that as we go through the energetics. We have Mercury, our messenger planet, today at 16 degrees of Sagittarius, actually in an exact opposition with the black moon. It's 16 degrees of Gemini, which is something else that I will talk about, and I will just state right now before I forget to say it, we are in black moon energetics. Whenever the black moon is in the sign where the moon is, or the sign opposing the black moon, that triggers the black moon, triggers black moon energetics, shadow side issues, another component of this shadows brought to light energy that we have going on. And so this cycle could be a more difficult cycle simply because of the fact that it is very much triggering and activating the black moon. And again, I will get back to this in a minute. Stick with me, you guys. It's all going to tie together. But 16 degrees of Sagittarius, where Mercury is today, seagulls fly around a ship in search of food. Where are we accepting scraps? Venus at 23 degrees of Capricorn today, a soldier receiving 2 awards for bravery in combat. Mars at 24 degrees of Scorpio today, crowds coming down the mountain to listen to one inspired man. Jupiter, ruler of Sagittarius, ruler of the Sagittarius cycle, at 26 degrees of Aquarius today, a garage man testing a car's battery with a hydrometer. 10 degrees of Aquarius, where Saturn is today, a man who had for a time become the embodiment of an ideal is made to realize that as a person, he is not that ideal. This is all about self-reflection. Uranus, our Age of Aquarius planet, the great rectifier, the silver lining planet, who also is activated today by the position of the new moon, a young couple window shopping. We are actually being asked to actively start picking out and designing the things and the features and the people and the relationships and the circumstances and experiences that we want to live going forward into our new reality. Neptune recently went direct yesterday at 21 degrees of Pisces, a little white lamb, a child, and a Chinese servant. We have Pluto at 26 degrees of Capricorn, a nature spirit dancing in the midst of a waterfall. We have the north and the south nodes bringing us our last eclipse in Gemini and Sagg 2 degrees of Gemini, north node, 2 degrees of Sagittarius, south node. The north node is at Santa Claus, furtively filling stockings, hanging by the fireplace. Destiny at this point in time, you guys, with all of these activations going on right now, is promising to bring gifts and blessings and fulfillment. We just have to be patient and wait and do the work of releasing the past. The south node to Sag, the ocean covered in white caps, choppy emotions, choppy waters, but we can navigate them, we can endure, and we are headed toward those stockings filled with gifts from Santa Claus. And it's funny because Jupiter is the Santa Claus planet, the Santa Claus archetype. So there's a double dose of Santa Claus and blessings in our future once we get through this difficult time and we can go through this process of mental shift, transition, and release. We have Chiron, our hero's journey, master archetype, wounded healer, teacher, so significant in the transfer in our energy transcendence into the age of Aquarius. 9 degrees of Aries, a crystal gazer. And last but not least, we have the black moon, who is a very significant part of the energetics today by opposition to both the new moon itself and Mercury by exact opposition, 16 degrees of Gemini, a female activist in an emotional display dramatizing her cause. So those are all the energetics in effect today symbolically in terms of the symbolism that they are disseminating and representing, discharging in the context of these activations that we have going on today. So now that we have all that done, let's move on and talk specifically about the aspects in play for this full moon, for this new moon that we have in Sagittarius. Now, and the features also, not just the aspect, there's some features alongside of this that I want to discuss as well. First of all, find it very, very interesting. There are 5 different components of this new moon specifically that are all referencing, every single one of them is explicitly referencing light being shown into the shadows, into the darkness. Number 1, this is a solar eclipse, and that is the nature of a solar eclipse. Eclipses cast shadows. That's what they do. And when we have the solar eclipse, symbolically and historically, what happens with that is a light being cast into the shadows somehow, exposing what's been hidden in the shadow or in the darkness or in some type of an illusion or something that has just been untangible to our eye or our mind to perceive. Shining light into the shadows is what is fundamentally represented by a solar eclipse. Now let's think about the degree placement of this solar eclipse at 13 degrees of 13 degrees of Sagittarius. A widow's past is brought to light. This is exposing secrets. This is gaining clarity on the past now and how it impacts the future. This is, really gaining clarity and understanding, and also just exposing things that have potentially gone on in the past and how they implicate the future course. Now, we also have the new moon itself in the opposition to the black moon. Now, the new moon is happening at 13 degrees of Gemini. The black moon is happening at 13 degrees of the new moon is happening at 13 degrees of Sagittarius. The black moon is happening at 13 degrees of 16. I don't know why. I'm sorry. Delete everything I just said. My mind is like skipping right now for some reason. The new moon is happening at 13 degrees of Sagittarius. The black moon is currently at 16 degrees of Gemini. That is only a 3-degree orb opposition with the moon in Sagittarius right now. This is triggering the black moon. What does the black moon rule? The black moon rules our shadow side issues. With this solar eclipse, all about seeing into the shadows, happening literally in a 3-degree orb opposition to the black moon, which literally rules shadows. This is by transit, not only through the symbol in the symbolism of that degree too. shining a light into the shadows, bringing up shadow side issues so that we can see them, we can acknowledge them, we can integrate them, and we can break their hold over us, essentially, which is what this cycle is doing if you go back to those themes that I said at the beginning. Next, we have the solar eclipse itself happening in the nakshatra called Jesta. And for those of you who are unfamiliar with Vedic astrology, I really like to incorporate and include an analysis of the Vedic sidereal astrology when I am looking at new moons, when I'm looking at full moons, because there's a breakdown within the Vedic system, within the signs, called nakshatras, where each sign is really divided into 3 subsigns. And these nakshatras, this to me is really one of the most dead-on specific parts of astrology, interpreting and reading nakshatras. So whenever there's a big major aspect or activation going on, I like to look at the Vedic system. I like to analyze the nakshatra placement and see what's going on. And the nakshatra that this new moon is happening in is called, like I said, Jesta. And this is a nakshatra that is said to be part of the deep magic. And with the eclipse happening here, this is exposing where power has been used for dark or sinister purposes. And it's also like really giving us an ability to see where power has been abused out of the lower negative octaves of things. So another indication that this new moon is exposing secrets, just the fact that it is occurring in Jesta. It's also happening in a quincunx to Uranus. Uranus is the great rectifier. Uranus was active, very active, all last cycle long. Uranus exposes things as well and brings us truth, puts things right, throws everything up in the air so that it can land in a way where it can operate better. And it's all about truth, and it's all about authenticity and the freedom to experience and express those things. So this is an aspect of all of this as well. And we also, like I said, are having Mercury in the conjunction to the new moon. Mercury is at 16 degrees of Sag today. The new moon is happening at 13 degrees of Sag, putting Mercury in the exact opposition to the black moon. So with Mercury in the conjunction, this is and opposite the black moon, this is us consciously reflecting on our shadow side issues, while the solar eclipse is exposing what's been hidden in those shadows. Like, this is quite profound. What's been hidden in the shadows, and where have we been accepting scraps, and how are we overcoming a lack mentality? How are we standing up for ourselves? Now, remember the position of Mercury for this new moon today. Seagulls fly around a ship in search of food. Lack mentality, wisdom through experience, and also, like I said, where are we giving our power away? Where are we accepting scraps? And where are we not standing up for ourselves? And with the black moon at that degree, a female activist in an emotional display, dramatizing her cause. It's like exactly what I said. Where are we accepting scraps? Where are we deciding that we are no longer going to settle for less than we deserve? And how are we actively standing up for ourselves and asserting ourselves in that process in our lives? And this is very much also in relation to overcoming and addressing these shadow side issues that may be very triggered with Mercury, the messenger, the mind, the analytical mind, the conscious mind, in the opposition with the planet that rules the unconscious and the subconscious mind, the subconscious programming, the parts of our psyche that we don't see and that we don't acknowledge and that we don't look at. We are getting a very conscious view of what has been happening in the shadows of our own psyche, and the impact that it's had on our behavior and our lifestyle and our thoughts, and what we need to do to break ourselves free from that in alignment with all of the other themes and messages going on with this energy today. The new moon being in quincunx to Uranus, this could bring a sense of general strangeness, bizarre things happening. Divine intervention, though, definitely at play. Another feature of this new moon eclipse today is that it is actually conjunct the fixed star Antares, one of the ancient fixed stars. And you could say Antares, whatever. Antares. This is a star about top leadership, specifically top military leadership, strategy, war, battle, high-level military leaders, like I said. It also rules the art of war, military strategy. And I do feel with Antares being conjunct this new moon solar eclipse today, there may be some high level leaders, military officials specifically, that are exposed for some really significant or profound abuses of power with this eclipse going on in the new moon. With the new moon also happening conjunct Antares, I do feel that there may be a stronger, even greater desire of like a police state to try to exert force over the population. However, I don't really see that as being a lasting outcome because we are in energy right now of breaking free from things that are trying to enslave us, and anything that is working against the energy right now is in the process of destroying itself. And that is really, the nakshatra that this is happening in as well. Like I said, Jesta. This nakshatra in and of itself helps to give us the ability to strategize in such a way that allows our enemies to destroy themselves through their own actions via active non-response to like some type of provocation. So, and that is one of the lessons and one of the strengths of the nakshatra Jesta. It really gives us an ability to sort of not interfere with the enemy when it's destroying itself. And Antares being involved, there is just this art of war theme that is wrapped up in these energetics as well. But this is the type of energy where it's like we hold to our truth, we hold to our authenticity, we hold to our integrity, while the sinister forces abusing power that have been having a negative or detrimental impact on the innocence and the purity and the beauty of the human psyche and spirit essentially destroy themselves through their own efforts being exerted over and over and over and over, that just begin to like crumble down upon them because we're just not playing the game anymore. And we're in a period of time where we're being liberated from our fears and discovering that the fears that have been controlling us are really and have always been nothing but an illusion. And the strength and the internal empowerment that gives us really diminishes any type of authority from being able to do that process of clamping down harder at this point in time. There may be efforts, but at the end of the day, I really feel like it will be an implosion on those who are abusing and manipulating power for power and control. Now, oh gosh, I'm running out of time. I only have 6 more minutes, so I'm going to start talking very fast because I really want to talk about Jupiter, ruler of the Sagittarius cycle, because everything points to Jupiter now that we're in Sagittarius season, and Jupiter right now is at 26 degrees of Aquarius. That Sabian symbol is a garage man testing a car's battery with a hydrometer, taking a measure of where we are currently at and how much power we really have at this point. Jupiter in Aquarius today for this new moon is making a 2-degree orb square to Mars in Scorpio. Mars today is at that degree. Crowds coming down the mountain to listen to one inspired man. This is action based on inspiration to transform and connect with something deep and powerful and profound and life-changing. This aspect, Jupiter in Aquarius, ruler of this cycle, and square to Mars in Scorpio in his own sign. This aspect and these signs really gives us tremendous healing ability, actually. Prophetic in some ways as well, and able to know what actions will heal root issues that can make things better generally for everyone. Societal structures, though, because of the square, perhaps blocking or hindering actions that we truly need to take and that we know we need to take. That is sort of where the frustration can come with this aspect. An internalized sense of frustration is possible with this, of knowing what actions we truly need to take and wanting to take them, but feeling blocked or hindered by some type of societal structure or a greater whole in some type of a way. But ultimately, and because of the other energy that we have going on right now, this is huge energy to heal and transform things right now into a much greater alignment with truth and authenticity. Very inspired action, very overblown and emphasized outsized levels of energy. Watch the ego with this though, because it being Mars, that can be a lower octave tendency. But really, this is happening to heal and transform humanity in alignment with these Aquarian incoming paradigm frequencies now that we have the planets in Sagittarius speaking to the Sag cycle, and Jupiter, ruler of truth in Aquarius, ruler of freedom to experience true authenticity. Now, another thing that I want to talk about before this video wraps up is Venus and Pluto. We have a saga going on between Venus and Pluto. This energy began a few days ago. Well, actually began at the beginning of this year, but it really kicked into gear a couple of days ago, and it is going to be carrying through the next few months. Venus coming into the conjunction with Pluto. This is, again, very much the same exact themes of everything that's going on with this new moon. It is breaking toxic relationships, freeing ourselves from what has been enslaving our beauty and our innocence and our purity. Anywhere that we have been having our own goodness essentially used to control us through fear or manipulation or used against us in any type of a way, this is breaking down. And this aspect, Venus in conjunction to Pluto, is also in the conjunction to, or a sextile with Mars today. Now remember, Venus is at 23 Capricorn today, a soldier receiving 2 awards for bravery in combat. And so this is telling me that the outcome of this is going to be victorious, especially her being at that degree for this day, for the new moon and the eclipse. The Venus-Pluto energy is very much about the same thing as the Jyesta Nakshatra, like I said, and the new moon conjunct Mercury in opposition to the black moon at 13 Sagittarius. The widow's past is brought to life, exposing abuses of power where innocence, beauty, and purity have been betrayed and destroyed, exposing what's truly gone on in the shadows. And this again leading us to, or I'm sorry, I'm reading my notes wrong. And this again leading us back to an internalized sense of power based on self-love, self-worth, internal value, and no longer accepting or surrendering our power to those who will use it or abuse it or offer us honestly even less than we deserve. This is breaking addictions and ending toxic cycles of relationships and mental behaviors, patterns, and programming for sure with this. And really, you guys, at the end of the day, everything with this new moon comes back to the central theme of shining light into the shadows, exposing the evil that has been operating in the darkness, the spiritual war, the spiritual battle, exposing the evil, stepping into the archangel micro frequencies of truth and the divine warrior energetic and frequency, breaking ourselves free. The effect of this will be a massive purge, release, purification, rectification, profound metamorphosis on every level, and we are clearing karma, breaking free from karmic loops as we graduate energetically into a whole new vibrational phase of experience as we enter the shift of the ages into the age of Aquarius. So I gotta wrap it up now, you guys. My video, I've been going for 30 minutes. My video is about to cut off, but really, at the end of the day, with all of this, the solar eclipse, everything opposite the black moon, Venus and Pluto, the Jyesta Nakshatra, and the degree, the widow's past is brought to light, all about shining light into the shadows and how it impacts the course of our lives going into the future, this liberation from the toxic past. That's what I have for this video today. Those are the themes going forward. If you liked it, please give me a thumbs up, you guys. Subscribe to my channel, share it with your friends, leave me comments, and come back with me on Monday for a whole new week of astrological energetics. Have a beautiful new moon, you guys, and a beautiful weekend. Bye.